Do you think that this huge therapy boom is happening in America for a reason? Like, do you think it has to do with the times we live in, or like the lack of, or church going away, or that we're fat and lazy people now and we have it off too easy, and so we're just inventing problems to have something to do? Or do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's probably honestly a few different things going on.
Okay.
One, I think the boom, like, so in the healthy part of it, okay, is that that the stigmatism of going to therapy has dropped, that there is a willingness from people to admit I need help and go seek help when they actually really do need it.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's the good part of the increase in seeing a therapist. Okay.
Okay.
But then I think the negative parts of that is one, I think there is a very entitled, selfish, and at times narcissistic generation that really is all about themselves. And I say generation, I don't mean just like this one particular, like millennials or Gen Xers or Gen Zs. I just kind of mean the individuals living at this time.
It's millennials. We started it.
Yeah. I mean,
we're the worst generation. I'll admit it.
Okay.
I know it.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, and I do think that's a problem with the millennials going down, because they're so inward focused. Therapy can feed that because they want to constantly be validated in themselves. Or if something is wrong, it can't just be that they need to just make a change. They've got to go find out, well, I'm this way because I'm a victim because of ...
Okay.
And so there's so
constant looking inward
because
they've got nothing else to do.
Right.
They're bored.
And so they claim victimhood, right? There's a lack of just taking ownership. Now, again, I know tons of millennials that are not this way.
No, you don't.
But I will say this. I'm going to say this. Being in a more rural country church.
What? Rural? What'd you say?
I'm from South Georgia, man. That's how I talk. I will say this. I think being in a more rural country church, that got real Southern real quick, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, God. I was actually trying to do it better, and I think it got worse. But all I'm saying is there is a little bit different mentality of kind of that old school mentality of I'm not, take ownership, work hard,
rub some dirt in it.
Yeah, rub some dirt. Right. I mean, honestly.
Yeah.
I
like those people.
Like discipline is needed. Grow up. Raise your kids to take responsibility. If they don't, that's on them. Like it just there's a little bit of different mentality there, and so that I actually really appreciate. And so I do think that that's not just all millennials everywhere, but I am concerned. You get into higher education, into universities, and just what they're teaching, it feeds it. It's teaching them that, oh, poor you, that like you don't have to own anything. You're the oppressed one. It's not your fault. All that, all of that. Mm-hmm. And I think that
Preach, Pastor Joseph.
I think that has caused part of this because and unfortunately, because counselors are being trained in that environment, they are affirming those things from the very clients coming to them.
So counselors are victims too.
Counselors see victimhood, and so therefore they affirm a victimhood.
Right.
And allow people to, and this is what we talked about earlier, you can be a victim to things without staying or without living as a victim from that point on.
Right.
Regardless of how bad the situation was. Yes, it can be horrific, bad. We're not doubting that you were a victim in the moment. But don't live as a victim going forward.
So do you think this is because people don't go to church as much anymore? Do you think that has anything to do with it?
Well, but even church has gotten out of whack.
Right.
Because in church, it was take responsibility for, like, really take responsibility for your personal sin,
Right.
for immorality, take responsibility for it, own it, ask for forgiveness. Like, these are all ownership things, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm owning it. I'm asking for forgiveness. I want to become more like Christ. Okay.
Okay, so you're putting...
But let me say this too. Let me finish the thought. But in some churches today, I don't think there's anything really going on in those churches that's any more than this sense of, like a therapeutic self-help,
Right.
deism. Like, we believe there's a God, but we want to talk about how to be a better you and a better person, and here's the things that are holding you back, and like it actually becomes like therapeutic talking points from the stage,
Right.
self-help talking points from the stage. And if that's what we're feeding people,
Joel Osteen,
yes, and
hate that guy.
we've had conversations about this before, so we won't beat that dead horse, but
No.
It just, but I do.
Wait, he died?
No,
Oh.
no. But
He looks like a horse. It's funny because it's true.
yeah. Now I'm picturing his face. Yeah. Anyway, okay. So, so I think that all of that has played into the fact that, yes, there is. So yeah, the church not being who the church needs to be has probably fed into it as well. Because again, in the church world, this is why I talk about worldview parts. Our identity is not, the identity politics of today, not the identity of oppressor or oppressed, not the identity of race, gender, sexual orientation. No, your identity is who you are in Christ. That's your identity.
Okay.
And so I do think the identity part matters as well. And we've lost that battle largely in our country. So.
Okay. All right. So if I get it kind of seems like you're putting it, there's like 3 different categories.
Okay.
Like, my brain doesn't have enough chemicals. I should go see somebody. Something's wrong. It's making me feel this way, or it has too many, or whatever.
Right.
And then there's something actually happened to me.
Correct.
And I should go see a therapist.
Correct.
And then there's I made up some bullshit, and now I need to go see a therapist.
Yeah.
And that's the one that's not.
Yeah, I've been coddled, or I haven't been disciplined, or what I haven't. Someone actually didn't teach me the life skills, right?
Right.
And life happens, and I'm falling apart because of it.
Right. And that stuff, I feel like you can fix yourself without a therapist.
Well, that's the whole part of self-help, right?
Yes.
But then there's the whole self-help industry, which, anyways.
I don't even mean self-help.
Right,
I mean, like you can watch how other people who are successful at whatever do it,
right?
And watch how
and to be honest,
do you agree with me on that?
I do.
Okay.
I do, because I do think that, and that's part of why I would say discipleship, can actually replace a lot of this, because I can go learn from older men and older women of how to do certain things and make certain decisions
and live a certain way.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Right.
So that's where you would replace a lot of therapy with Jesus.
Yeah. I would replace it.
Replace life coaching with discipleship.
Discipleship. Correct.
And replace.
And a good bit of counseling with discipleship. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because and again, not all counseling, not all therapy, right? Like, I agree with you. There's kind of those 3 buckets.
Okay.
And someone may say, well, that's not nuanced enough, and it's probably not. It's probably a crude way of framing it, but
well, I'm crude.
Yeah. So I'm okay with the way you use those 3.
Okay.
Those 3 things, and because again, like even for me, like when I'm a young man, I'm married, and we got young kids, we're financially strapped, and I kind of want to have a woe is me attitude about it, right? So, I'm talking about like 10 years ago, kind of want to have like a woe is me attitude about it, and then you sit down with someone, and they're like, I was there too.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
and it sucks. And you should think it sucks forever.
Right.
And it's going to be horrible for you for a really long time. So
but guess what?
Yeah.
You can do this.
Yeah.
You can make it through. You'll be okay.
Okay.
You know, hopefully there will come a time where you're not just living paycheck to paycheck, you know?
Right.
Like, and these are the steps that, you know, and
Pull
they
yourself up by your bootstraps.
right? And they can tell you, these are the steps we took to have financial peace.
Right.
And I think,
I don't think you need to spend $500 an hour to find someone to tell you that.
I agree.
Okay, good.
That's what I'm saying. Like that was a discipleship relationship I had with somebody.
Yes.
And they were able to tell me that.
So replace all of that crap with Jesus. And then we fix the industry.
And then, okay. Very good.
Really?
I think we're onto something, Nate.
Okay.
I think we're onto something.
Okay, so if my brain needs chemical and balance drugs, go get some drugs.
Yeah. And with therapy, right? We're not just saying just the drugs.
Right.
Right. Right.
With therapy.
Uh-huh.
And hopefully someone that did an x-ray or whatever they do to look at your brain.
Right.
And then if I was hurt as a child or someone did something horrible to me and I'm having a hard time getting over it, I maybe could go see a therapist. That would be legit.
That would be legit. And not everyone that goes through a trauma like that feels like they need to, and that's okay.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but all the rest of it is nonsense.
Yeah, because yes, I think
go to church.
Go to church.
That's what you say.
I do think that's a huge part of it.
And if I'm having if I feel just down about life, go to church.
Go to church.
Not a therapist.
Get a discipleship group. Grow in Jesus. Yes.
Okay.
And then I think over time you can discern, oh man, like I've been going to church, I've been getting discipled, I'm still dealing with anxiety at a super high level, right? Where I'm having panic attacks.
Go to a good church, not a bad one.
Don't go to a watered down, seeker friendly church.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go to one where they'll disciple you.
Yes. Go to a disciple making church.